Well, good morning, guys. It's Wednesday, and it's the summer holidays for my kids now, which means it's 6 weeks of fun, relentless, precious family time. And,
Daddy, can I have £10 for Roblox?
No, you can't. You can't just have it.
Oh.
I tell you what, I'll give you £5 if you off for a bit.
Yay!
All right. Anyway, it's time for an alternative paper review. First up to the Daily Mail this morning, who suddenly care about hate speech, with why was jihad preacher free to spout hate? Well, yeah. I mean, why was he? I mean, absolutely, we can talk about the downsides of releasing people on licence or 5-year prison terms that are cut in half because of overcrowding. You know, we can have those conversations, but just park them for a second while I express my joy at the refreshing visage of the Daily Mail taking a break from demonising immigrants, refugees, women, students, nurses, anyone who's ever worked at the BBC, teachers, single mothers, asylum seekers, and Meghan Markle, to ask the rest of us why somebody else was free to spout hate. I don't get all judgy. Don't be self-righteous now, lads, all right? That is like Philip Schofield moralising over you having an affair with the checkout girl. So Olivia, did you want to get a hotel later?
Yeah, I suppose we could do.
I don't know if that's entirely appropriate. How about this? It's unwise, but not illegal, Phil. Now, why don't you go and Gordon the Gopher or something? Over to the I now, who say the UK has 3 years to get ready for war. Bloody hell. It says Britain must prepare for conflict with Russia, North Korea, China and Iran, or as they call it, the axis of upheaval. Wait, what? An axis of upheaval. Isn't it supposed to be axis of evil? Yes, but for some reason they've gone with upheaval this time. But you are right. Traditionally, you would call Iran and whoever else an axis of evil, not upheaval. Because upheaval doesn't sound like that much of a thing, does it, really? I mean, evil is, prison camps, persecution, slavery, and Peter Kay. But an upheaval is what? It's sort of temporary inconvenience, isn't it? It's like you were told that the lifts don't work in the hotel, so you carted your suitcases all the way up to the 11th or 12th floor, only to find out on that floor that, no, the lift does work. And the doors open and then your wife comes out just in time to see you and the checkout girl. Man, is that inconvenient. Oh, is that an upheaval. Now, is it unfortunate? Is it embarrassing? Is it an upheaval? Yes, absolutely. But I'm not sure it sits entirely in parallel with geopolitical instability and the prospect of a nuclear war. Over to The Guardian now, who report that the King's official income is set to rise by more than 50%. So that's good, isn't it? That's nice. Good for him, It appears that profits in the Crown Estate have reached 1.1 billion, and the sovereign grant, which is funded by that, will now go from about 80 million a year to about 135. I mean, how have they even made that money? Profits of £1.1 billion. I mean, that is a lot of commemorative fake gold, we stole all your gold plates in China, isn't it? Finally to the Times, who report that Labour are considering forcing the long-term sick back to work, which, on top of removing the whip from 7 of their own MPs last night for deigning to suggest that the 2-child benefit cap might be, if not evil, then certainly in upheaval territory, leaves me seriously wondering if Labour's honeymoon might be shorter than my own. And I'm not even married. Add to those two things the reports that Labour are now abandoning the idea of Leveson Part 2, it kind of gets me thinking that a bunch of us who helped propel Labour to power through tactical voting and StopTheTories.vote, an initiative that is widely accepted to have played a fairly core role in putting Keir Starmer into number 10, it kind of gets me thinking that there's a bunch of us who will have to start to apply significant pressure on Labour. And if you really want it spelling out for you, basically what it comes down to is this, is we helped you attain power. But that support absolutely can be withdrawn and discharged to benefit, I don't know, the Greens, if you don't act right. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm a complete witless Puritan about this stuff, right? To some extent, I understand where Labour are coming from. Not everyone can have all of the budget that they want for every single policy, right? So when we're talking about the cap or how much money the NHS have to work with or your local school, to some extent, like, I understand. Rachel Reeves has this national debt. She has to be super cautious. But with things like Leveson 2, like to just not even hold an inquiry that is already 10 years delayed. And for what? So you can continue to enjoy this sort of lukewarm support from Murdoch and co? And then with this nonsense, you know, if what you're going for is growth, right? Well, you could achieve that by rejoining the single market. You absolutely could. But then to choose to force long-term sick people back into the labour force. Like that is your preferred route to growth? Is it? Rather than just doing a deal with the EU? Really? Like, I don't want to sound completely depressed and devoid of all hope. I'll save that for my podcast. But between the child benefit cap, the forcing sick people to work, and abandoning Leveson 2, I'm not saying I'm necessarily feeling like this, but I could understand why some people out there might begin to feel something close to buyer's remorse. Which is... I mean, look, you're familiar with the concept of buyer's remorse, aren't you? You've heard that phrase before? No? No? Okay, well, if you're not familiar with the concept of buyer's remorse, basically what it is it's the difference between f***ing and fatherhood.